What's blue, talks funny, and is 3 apples tall? No, it's not your emo baby brother. It's what Amber and Scott are discussing today.
I'm opening up today with a
Smurfs.
PSA.
Okay.
If you are going to take your kids to the movies, either make sure that they're well behaved enough that they're not constantly up and down and talking throughout the entire thing, or that you have enough adults that can actually handle this situation. Because when you bring, like, I don't know, 9 or 10 4-year-olds, was what that seems like, and they're just constantly up, like, I get it if it's a kids movie, but there's still other people in the theater. It's not just you.
Yeah, there was a lot of families there with children, and they were all really good. It just happened to be that the group in front of us was very active. Anyway.
Very, very active.
La, 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 la. All right, boys and girls, if you have not already guessed, this episode we are talking about Smurfs. When Papa Smurf is mysteriously taken by evil wizards Razamel and Gargamel and Smurfette lead the Smurfs on a mission into the real world to save him. With the help of new friends, the Smurfs must discover what defines their destiny to save the universe. There were so many cute little sayings in here. I wish I had a little notebook to jot them all down. They were cute.
Yeah.
And it definitely felt like initially we were at a Rihanna concert because I didn't realize that Smurfs was essentially, it felt like a musical when it first started because the Smurfs kept breaking out into songs.
There was a lot of singing.
There was a lot of singing. But it was, true to the general idea of Smurfs. They're in a village. They're having a good time. There's Grumpy Smurf and Brainy Smurf and Cranky Smurf. And there is No Name Smurf.
There's No Name Smurf.
Was No Name Smurf in the original?
No.
Okay, I didn't think that was a thing.
No, absolutely
so
not.
Our film centers around No Name, who doesn't have a thing like everybody else, and he's trying to figure out his thing, and he ultimately falls into, hey, I want to do magic, and in doing so, he divulges the Smurfs' location to the Gargamel's brother, Razamel, and realizes that now they're vulnerable because they have obtained this personified happy book that got separated from 3 other books, and when reunited by the evil wizards, those books can rid the world of good and blanket it with evil.
Yeah, I like how all of the Smurfs are named after their thing, like Hefty Smurf because I'm strong.
Right.
Brainy
Hefty.
Brainy Smurf because I'm smart. Clumsy Smurf because I'm clumsy. Smurfette because I have a vagina.
Her thing definitely is one of a kind because there are no other girls in Smurf Village.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. The way she was talking at one point, I thought she was formerly known as Horse Smurf.
Excuse me?
She was talking about... I remember that one scene where they were using Smurf a lot.
Yeah, well,
that's what they do,
she almost moved her pants.
Yeah, well, no.
Smurfed herself.
No, she said something else. I don't remember what it was, but it could have easily been taken as sexually suggestive. I do remember that.
I can't say I noticed that or recalled that, but they definitely use the word Smurf interchangeably with lots of bad words.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite Smurf? My favorite Smurf was sound effect.
Sound
Smurf.
effects.
I loved him. So when there was a crisis, he was like, ew, 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 ew. And then whenever they wanted to say a bad word, he'd go, beep, and bleep out the F word or the S word or whatever.
They should have called him Foley Smurf, but no one would have gotten that.
No, the kiddos wouldn't have gotten that. But he was adorable. I loved him. I guess some of my quotable quotes in the movie that I liked is "What the shell?" from our turtle friend, and when what is it? Is Israel? What is the cat's name?
Azrael.
Gets some magic and turns into a big cat that flies all the Smurfs to safety. He gets big and says, "I'm gonna need a bigger litter box."
Yeah. I mean, this movie did a very good job of leaving things in for the adults. If I'm being honest, maybe too much so.
Oh, and I think this was the most kiddie-like film we've ever seen out of any of the animated films.
But see, that's the thing. I think there's a lot of things in the movie that the kids wouldn't get.
Oh, there was a lot of references, like that one, a couple of song references where they used the lyrics of songs.
Yes.
That literally were decades old references.
Yeah, I can't even remember them all, but I remember there were several. Yeah, and when they were in Paris and they found the other Smurfs, which I'd like to know that amongst those other Smurfs, there was another female Smurf.
Yeah, she was part of the
Smurfette had to be
the Paris badass.
She's never had any competition whatsoever.
Yeah, and I don't think they had any sort of competition there.
No, there's still hundreds of males to 2 females. They're fine.
mean, it's Paris.
Yeah, and I like they asked her if you speak French. Je ne sais quoi. Okay, smartass.
So, what would you do for Smurfs? What would you do if you lived in a village run by one guy who was kind of in charge and he got abducted? I shouldn't say kind of in charge. Papa Smurf is definitely in charge. So you're in this village, you're sheltered in the woods, have a pretty safe life, and your leader is abducted. What do you do?
Is our leader being abducted on the table?
No.
Okay.
We're our leader for the point of this conversation is Papa Smurf.
Well, that's when second in command takes over.
But I don't think there was one.
There actually kind of was.
He's kind of a king. There's no.
If you watch the show enough, there was he was essentially second in command.
Who?
He worked as an advisor to Papa Smurf and kind of, if Papa Smurf was unavailable, could pick up. And it's Brainy. Because he was the smart one.
Yeah. But Brainy was not the one who led the charge to locate Papa Smurf after he was Smurf-napped.
Yeah, I did not like Brainy's reduced role in this movie.
I know you're a Brainy fan.
I do like me some Brainy.
Everyone has a favorite Smurf. Yeah. So what would you do? You would go to the second in command, but for the sake of our film, there really wasn't a second command.
Yeah, and that's kind of a problem here. When you don't have a second in command, you have anarchy and chaos.
Okay, so you'd create a different governmental structure for Smurf Village, is what I'm hearing.
I might consider looting at that point.
Looting?
Looting the mushrooms.
Looting and mushrooms?
Well, looting the mushrooms. Because they lived in mushrooms.
Oh, okay. So you want home invasions?
Though I would like to say they lived
you want home invasions.
They lived in these
Smurf
mushrooms,
Village.
but they're 3 apples tall. How freaking big are those mushrooms?
They're big. They're probably like Alice in Wonderland type mushrooms that the caterpillar sits on.
Those are the mushrooms you see if you're on mushrooms.
Probably, yeah. Wow, so you want them to revert to crime and looting in their village.
It's an idea. It's a thought.
How does that get your leader back? How
It
does
doesn't.
that get,
It doesn't.
Okay,
No.
it doesn't.
I mean, the problem is
yeah, please tell me what the problem
when
is.
everyone is a very, very specific role player, and all of a sudden a necessary role is gone, and this really is applicable to society, and all of a sudden that role is gone, there's a void. There's a massive void because everyone has their roles for a reason, because that's what makes society work when you are doing that in the very strict role-based things. Like you don't have vice leaders or other... You don't have any form of a chain of command anywhere.
Vice leaders?
Well, like vice presidents.
Oh. Yeah, and that's where No Name steps up, because he basically created the blast of magic that got the village on the bad guy's radar. So he feels like, oh, shoot, I messed up. I need to write this. But then what we learn later on is that the magic book, the book of those 4, is hiding in his hat and doing the magic for him.
Yeah. I thought for a while that he might become guilty Smurf or regretful Smurf.
Yeah, or imposter syndrome Smurf.
Well, if imposter syndrome is your thing, that's a bad thing to have.
I mean, that seems like a very appropriate thing for today's world. Is there should be an anxiety Smurf, an imposter syndrome Smurf, and yeah,
I'm going to say one thing from the movie.
political activist Smurf.
Everybody in their life should have somebody they love as much as Gargamel loves Azrael.
Yeah, I definitely approve of his adoration of his cat.
It was a little
Lifting his cat up. Love lifts us up where we belong. Sorry. Oh, I see that sound effects Smurf has come to visit. Okay, and he seems like he's crossbred with someone from the Peanuts.
I'm crossbred with something. I don't know what it is.
That's true. That's true.
Sometimes with me, you get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And ew, sometimes you get some of this too.
That's true. That's true. So
many crossbreeds.
Yes, lots of things happening over there.
Yes.
So what would you do if you then were part of this Smurf team who had to find Papa Smurf, and you come across these OMG adorable little creatures that like cake, who are so freaking cute.
They were really adorable.
And they wouldn't help. So
well, yeah, they didn't want to get mixed up in shit. They were like, yo, we'll help you, but we ain't getting mixed up in your stuff. You're
because it was
screwing with wizards. We don't want none of that.
Yeah, no, they were definitely afraid until one of theirs got taken. Then all of a sudden, then they cared enough to help.
Well, yeah.
So what would you do if you're within this big group of Smurfs who are trying to solve the Smurf napping and Smurf their leader? Like, what do you do?
Well, honestly, as soon as I come across the neighborhood watch in Paris, I'm just going to kick back and chill. Listen, y'all clearly know what the hell you're doing. I clearly don't. If y'all want to take care of this, and it sounds like you do, I'm just going to get the hell out of your way. I mean, seriously, though, because that's the problem, is that sometimes people don't get out of the way of other people when they should, and they end up becoming more of a liability than a help.
Yeah, those people should just Smurf off.
Yeah, they can go Smurf themselves.
So, what would you do if you were tiny size and you got put in a bag of hamburgers and french fries? Would you eat the french fries?
Hell yeah, I'd eat the french fries.
Can you imagine? Because those fries are like taller than you are.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having a fry that was as tall as you were?
Listen.
Oh my gosh.
It didn't say it, but for most of the things I saw there, I'm pretty sure that was In-N-Out.
Why?
Just the way, like, the burgers were packaged in a certain way. Like,
well,
like,
In-N-Out didn't get credit, but I'll tell you when
there's right coloring.
But earlier in the film, when Gargamel's brother had a meeting and he said Zoom about 5 times. Where's my Zoom? My mics aren't where I do my Zooms. I got to jump on my Zoom, and then sure enough, Zoom got credit at the end of the movie.
Well, I mean, Zoom is.
but it felt like the most strange kind of product placement.
It's not even product placement, though. Honestly, Zoom has.
Oh, it's Kleenex.
It's done. It's Kleenex. It's Xerox. It's all of those. Yeah, it's all of those things that become absolutely freaking synonymous with what it is.
Yeah.
Skype almost got there.
Yeah, Skype got obliterated by that pandemic.
Yeah, and then Zoom came in so hard during the pandemic that. I mean, that's just what it was. That was the technology you used. You didn't.
Well, and it was more reliable. I remember spending many times on Skype where you lose connection and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
No, Zoom's knocked it out of the park.
So you now have found Papa Smurf, and you're all united, and there is this pounding machine shaped like a fist that comes down with the force to crush whatever is underneath it.
They're like, we want something that can crush, but we need it to look like a human fist. Can you help us with the craftsmanship on that?
Yeah, I mean, it was very authentic.
Probably had Joel. Wasn't that the intern's name?
Yeah, and I expected him to have like a injured hand after his hand got crushed, but he looked fine.
Yeah, no. Luckily with cartoons, you can kind of do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would think that you'd be like throbbing, like boom, 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 where you saw the throbbing, or that sound effect. Smurf could make that sound of like the blood pulsing through his hand as it's big and ready and pulsating. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's like Nick Offerman Smurf didn't have a watch and then all of a sudden had a watch.
Yeah.
Continuity
Movie
person,
magic.
come on.
Movie magic.
No, just bad continuity. Yeah, and they, you know what? Listen, I know that sometimes some of these kids brands can do some cross stuff occasionally. I was so hoping when they had to go see Ken.
Oh, you were thinking it was Ken and Barbie?
Yeah, I was hoping to get some form of just like a quick Ken and Barbie thing. I freaking would have loved that.
Yeah, I saw you getting antsy. I wasn't really sure what you were.
I thought Ken. How many Kens are there?
Well, there was his brother Ken.
Well, kids toys and
yeah.
Yeah, no, I was
You were disappointed that Ken of Ken and Barbie fame didn't make a cameo? I mean, this isn't Toy Story.
I mean, a little.
Well, I was a little disappointed as well. Don't tell anyone.
So, you now are toward the end of the film, and you realize that as No Name Smurf, your magic isn't real. That this book has been hiding in your hat all along.
Fraud Smurf.
Yeah. What do you do when you realize that you finally, after like 10,000 tries, found the thing that you think you're good at, and then you realize that, no, that's not it. You've been getting an assist from a magic book. Do you keep trying, or do you fight for that, or
hang yourself Smurf,
or do you make the book hide in your hat forever? What do you do? Because now you've kind of got used to having a thing like all the other Smurfs.
Yeah, you know what? Like, you shouldn't be defined as one thing, and that's the thing with humans too. You get people who will become defined by what they are or what they do. And it can become a real issue when you're not that anymore. Examples could include being a parent. I mean, I guess you're a parent, you're still a parent, but like if you don't actually have kids you're parenting, or a teacher, or, law enforcement, a cop.
Well, I was reading a book the other day. I can't recall what I was reading, but it was talking about just this and identities and how we lock people into identities, for better or worse. We'll say, oh, well, he's the cook, or, she's the writer, or whatever, instead of saying, oh, he cooks or she writes. Like, it's a behavior, it's an action of someone. But when you say, oh, this is the writer in the family, or he's the cook in our house, then you start putting identities on people. And some people, might not want to always be the one who cooks. Someone might not want to be the pressure of having to be the writer in there, and then maybe they decide they want to do something else. So, yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying, and sometimes that can be really detrimental when you identify people by the actions that they take.
I'm okay with the identifying if you have multiple. By multiple, I mean at least 3 different things.
But why can't you be the action? You're someone who cooks, you're someone who writes, and you're someone who whatever.
Yeah.
Drives.
Like me, I've been a writer, I've been a stock trader, I've been a dog walker, I've been a game store owner. Like, well, I can list off all those things, but none of them are truly my identity. They're just pieces of who I am.
But some of those things are your identity. And when you don't do those, then you feel like, oh, I don't do this anymore. I've lost who I am because I'm not that identity. And that's where it starts becoming problematic, opposed to an action you take versus who you are.
Game store owner. Let me tell you, after I sold my game store, I really lost my identity there. And I actually partially contributed to the end of my first marriage. Like, I was lost. I didn't know who I was anymore.
Because your identity was the job and the role instead of it being something that you do. Identities are much more complicated than than they seem at first glance.
Yeah, they really are. I mean,
How did we get down this rabbit
well,
hole?
I mean, it's easy because all the Smurfs have a role.
Oh, yeah.
They have who they are. So, listen, I'm not saying it's not important to have a 1, 2, 3, or whatever. I mean, even if it's just one thing that you're really, really good at, that's fine. But just remember, no matter how good you are at something, it should only be a portion of your identity.
Well, and that's when people get threatened. So, for example, if you're the cook, you're the cook in the family, and then, you know, your brother marries someone or your sister marries someone, and they come in, and they're also a cook. And then you're vying for this, who's the cook of the family, who cooks Thanksgiving, who's the cook, and you have this struggle versus like, oh, we're people who cook. Okay, well, you know, what's your specialty? If we're all just people who cook, like, oh, you do cooking? Oh, I do cooking too. What do you like to cook? But when you have identities clash like that, that's when people get insecure or protective or feel challenged by that they need to maintain that label and not let someone else take it.
I mean, it really depends on what the label is in particular. If it's a cook, I'm just like, okay, so we both cook. Okay, I'll help you at your house. That way we don't make a mess out of mine.
Well, if you're going to Thanksgiving at someone's house and, you know, someone has always been the cook and then someone else marries into the family and then they're the cook.
Okay, we can both cook. Thanksgiving's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes people take ownership and they get really protective of what their identities are. And if someone else comes along to challenge that, like all of a sudden, imagine that there's another clumsy Smurf or there's another sound effect Smurf, then be like, oh, well, I'm sound effect Smurf. Ew. And then the other one's like, well, I'm sound effect Smurf.
Well,
And then
I mean, really, it was like Papa and Ken and even a little bit there at the end, Rob.
Ron.
Or is it Ron? Oh yeah, Ron. How, I mean, they clearly were all the leader type,
Right.
but they weren't threatened around each other.
Well, they were all very different.
It wasn't who's the leader. It's.
Well, they weren't at all sharing space. They hadn't even seen each other for a very long time.
But
so.
even once they did all get together under that.
Well, that was Papa Smurf's
Cupcake,
people, though.
the cupcake holder that somehow turned into a full-blown cake holder. When they were holding Papa. It was like little and then they got all
Papa,
the Smurfs.
can you hear me?
Yeah. But no, they weren't threatened. They just use your talents for what they're good for. And when you can collaborate. Because more than likely, if you have multiple people working on the same thing, you're probably going to end up with a better outcome than it would be if any one of you was just working on it, so long as you're all reasonably good at that thing. So,
Final thoughts on Smurfs.
I thought it was a Smurftastic movie. I would definitely Smurf it again. And if you don't like what I have to say, you can go Smurf yourself.